I asked 30 of my Culver's coworkers to rank the flavor of the days, and here are the results.
I hate pickles.
Jack puts this one by Max, passes Colin, and blows by Max, goes up for the sling. So I sent out a survey asking 30 of my Culver's coworkers to put the flavor of the days on a tier list. And amazingly, 26 of the 30 or so actually responded. So big thank you to you guys if you're watching this. I did not expect that kind of results, especially as quick as they came. And I'm kind of late making this video, but hey, thank you guys. And so the way I did this, just S, A, B, C, D, F, standard tier list type stuff. From there, I wanted to take the average of each flavor's results, but then I figured that would, I looked at it and saw that it would create a lot of, just C's and B's, middle of the road letters and ratings. And that doesn't exactly create the diversity that I hoped this would make, so I'm going to be taking the mode instead, because that has much more of a spread between the results. So, first flavor that we have here, Andy's Mint Avalanche. I have all of these sorted in just alphabetical order, so nothing too special there. I'm not a big fan of the mint, so my personal rating here was a lot lower than what was given, and that is a B, with 11 votes and 42.3%. Moving on to the next one, Blackberry Cobbler. And this one, you can see it has a tie between B and F. So what I did for that, as you can see, D has the next most votes, and D is closer to F than B. So that means that F is gonna be the rating for this one for Blackberry Cobbler. And I think I voted a D for this one because I know it's one of the best looking flavors that we have. Just the way that it blends with the vanilla is beautiful looking, but I'm not a fan of the blackberries, so that's where it gets the lower rating from. So Blackberry Cobbler is going to be our first F. And next up we have what is commonly perceived to be a crowd favorite, Brownie Batter Overload. And this one, as you can see, it clearly stood up to that reputation, getting a good majority of A's along with some B's and S's, but about 50% of the votes voted for A. So it's gonna get an A tier for Brownie Batter Overload. Good rating. Next one, Butter Pecan. This one is not a crowd favorite, as you can see by the majority of C, D, and F votes. And I'm gonna agree with it. It's really just a boring flavor. Nothing too special about it. And D is what it's gonna get with 30.8% of the votes. Next up, this one is my personal favorite, which has changed from the year and a half ago that I made my personal tier list video. I looked back on it recently and I saw there was quite a few flaws in it, so I thought, I could make another one of these. But hence why I'm doing this, but also getting the opinions of other people just to make it different, And Cappuccino Cookie Crumble, S tier. I'm gonna agree with that one. It's one of the best flavors we have, and you guys agree by almost 50% of you voting for S. So, good to know I'm not alone there. And next up, Caramel Cashew. I discussed this way back in the first video. It's a middle of the road flavor. It's okay. Caramel and cashews, they're good together. It's boring. It tastes good. Solid C, B flavor, and that's what was voted with a bunch of C's and a bunch of B's. But the next biggest number being F at the 19.2%, that means it's going to be rated a C instead of the B for Caramel Cashew. Next up, Caramel Chocolate Pecan. This one, it's okay. It's like Caramel Cashew, but I think it's a little bit more exciting, and I'm also more of a chocolatey fan, so this is more in my realm, and that's why it got more of the B tier rating than the C tier for this one, with 11 votes. So Caramel Chocolate Pecan is a B. Next up, Caramel Fudge Cookie Dough. There are two flavors like this. There's the Caramel Fudge Cookie Dough and the Crazy for Cookie Dough, both of them super popular flavors, super good flavors. And that shows here with A and S being by far the most voted for options out of any of these. And this one's going to go to A by just one vote over the S tier. So next up, we have Caramel Peanut Butter Cup. This one I personally don't remember my Culver's ever having. So it's a little bit rough to vote on this one, as you can see by just the amount of spread throughout the votes. Split between a B and a C, and it's going to go to a B here by quite a few votes over C. Actually, it's not as close as I thought it was. Next up, caramel pecan. This one's kind of just caramel cashews, not as cool older brother kind of thing. I think it was the first flavor of the day that Culver's ever had, but it is most definitely not the best. And this one's gonna get a C tier, although I feel like this one should be rated a D. Also, I mean, because of the amount of F votes that this one has, because it's not that good of a flavor. But it's gonna go to a C tier, just because I'm taking, like I said, the mode on all of these. And next up, caramel turtle, another one of those flavors that I don't really remember us having. As you know, if you've really been noticing, some of the ones that I say haven't gotten as much vote or as much attention at my Culvers have had less votes. Say this one is 25, when pretty much all of the others have 26. And it shows a good spread of results. C and D were what it was given, and yeah, it's like a turtle, but similar to caramel pecan, the worst version of the caramel, or in this case, turtle flavors. So C tier, 32% of the votes. Next up, chocolate caramel twist. This one is another one. I think it's kind of that upper mid threshold, and that shows here with majority voting B with 30.8%. Next up, chocolate covered strawberry, and this is one of those love it or hate it flavors, I'd say, because you could be like me and I don't like strawberries, which you're gonna see as a theme. I don't like a lot of things. I'm way too picky with what I eat. But then there's people like my brother Max per se, and this is one of their favorites because he likes strawberries. And so that's why you see the discrepancy here in the voting, like how it's spread between the A and the D being the majority votes. But A managed to take this one away, and it's gonna be an A tier for chocolate covered strawberry. And I'm okay with that one. I'm not a fan of the flavor, but I know how many people do like it, so I think this is a accurate rating for it. Another one of those that I personally have not seen at our Culvers, and I don't think it's been there for a while. I've worked there for 2.5 years or so and haven't seen it. So, you can see here again, it's got 24 votes instead of 26. I have had this one before, though, at a different Culvers. Where it was, I don't specifically remember, but I know that it wasn't where I'm from. So I personally gave it an S tier, and it seems like quite a few other people did too, because it's a really good flavor, and it's a shame that ours doesn't have it at all anymore. But S tier for chocolate eclair, and I can agree with that. Yeah. Next up, chocolate Heath Crunch. This one it's pretty mid tier as well, as you can see with the amount of C's and D's that I got. But it's going to be a C tier. It's nothing special, just a middle of the road flavor. Next up, chocolate Oreo volcano. This flavor, whenever I'm working, it might be the most popular of the flavor of the days that we serve, and the amount of pints that this one goes through whenever we pint the flavors up. After a day, it sells quicker than maybe any other flavor, other than potentially caramel cashew or turtle. Those two are two of the most popular. And you can see that in the voting with this one. Just A, B, and S. That's all the votes that this one got, but S tier is just going to slightly take it away. And I can get behind that. I would have put it at an A, I think, but I can support an S tier for chocolate Oreo volcano. Next up, the second of the two cookie dough flavors I mentioned, crazy for cookie dough. The only difference between the two is this one has chocolate and vanilla custard, whereas the other one has just the vanilla custard. And you can see, giving it that chocolate helps it out just a little bit, but because B has the second most votes, it's going to go to A instead of S, despite the fact that the two tied. I know that S couldn't win this one anyway, if two are tied, just because there can't be any votes higher than S. But it's going to go to A, just for the rules I listed earlier on, and I can support that. I can definitely support that. And the next one, creamy lemon crumble. It's another one of those love it or hate it flavors. Again, I don't like lemon flavored things. Max likes lemon flavored things. So you can see here, 7 people voted for F and 8 people voted for B. So it was one away from being an F tier flavor, but that one person just gave it a B. So that is, there's a few flavors like that could go either way on opposite ends of the spectrum. That's just how it's going to go. Next up, dark chocolate decadence. This flavor is dark chocolate custard. That's it. That's all it is. And it's good. It works. It really does work. But as you can see with the two dark chocolate custard flavors that are going to come later, Dark chocolate is definitely a favorite amongst people, and you can see that already here with S and B being the two most popular, but it's going to go to B by, once again, just one vote over S, and I will support that because the other two dark chocolate flavors coming later are definitely above this one, just because it's plain dark chocolate. And speaking of, we have the first of the two here, Devil's Food Cake, and it's an S tier. I mean, yeah, this one is either an A or an S tier, and no debate there. It is one of the best flavors that we have, for sure, and 42% of the people that did this agreeing with me. And next up, Dulce de Leche Cheesecake, another one, love it or hate it type thing. So you can see, I mean, a lot of S and a lot of F, and also a lot of A. But for that, I mean, A just barely took it by one vote over an S tier. So, I mean, it's as far as the cheesecake flavors go, I would say this is the best one of them. I don't know what it is about it that makes it better than the others that come later on, but it is the better of the three cheesecakes. A tier is, I'd say it's a good spot. Do I agree with it personally? No. But as a whole, yeah, it's a good ranking. Next one, Georgia Peach, F tier. Dog water. It sucks. The peaches don't go with custard. They just don't. Peach custard to go with it? No, just doesn't work. It does not work. And the 50%, 13 votes on the F tier that agree with me are right. Any other opinion here, I will objectively say is wrong. And you cannot disagree with me in this one case. In any other case, fine. But in Georgia Peach, F tier. That is the only acceptable response. Next one. And this one was by far the most, almost unanimous out of any of the votes, with an S tier. Midnight Toffee, the third and final dark chocolate flavor. And it had the most S tier votes out of any flavor. Most votes for any one category of any flavor. So you can see this is clearly the crowd favorite at my personal Culver's. And I'll agree with that. 57.7% of the votes going towards S. Very fitting. Midnight Toffee is a fantastic flavor, and if you see it at your local Culver's, you should definitely go and pick it up. It is so good if you haven't had it yet. Mint chip. I don't like mint. Once again, Max likes mint. So you can see, I mean, there's going to be a good spread amongst these. You see with a lot of the mint flavors that there's 5 people specifically, and all of them that voted F. 5 here. But this one, it's tied between C and A. And then you can see between B and F, it's also tied. So this, because it's between the two, and then the next two closest votes are tied, you'd think we'd go down to the next smaller votes, but would you look at that? Those two are tied as well, so for that reason, we're going to divide the A and C, and it's going to be a B tier. This one specifically breaks the rules that I made earlier, but the voting is too even to conclusively put it in any one category, I'd say. So B splits the middle, and that's just how it's going to be. Next up, Mint Explosion. Like I said, 5 votes for F. For Mint, I mean, that's just how it is. I believe I was one of them, because like I said, I don't like mint. But this one is much more solidly in the B tier. I'd agree. I think it's better than the Mint Chip, just because it has more to it than just that, chocolate pieces with it. So B, that's fair. I can get behind that. Next up, Mint Oreo. Once again, 5 votes for F. Big surprise. And this one is the best of the mint flavors, just because mint and Oreo... I mean, I can't talk in this because it's mint and I don't like mint, but as far as people that like mint go, they say Oreos are really good with it. And you see like mint Oreo concrete mixers and stuff all the time when you're working there on desserts specifically. So A is a good ranking for mint Oreo. Next up, Oreo cheesecake, another one of the cheesecake flavors. Once again, it's not mint, but we still have 5 votes for F here. I think there might just be 5 picky people throughout this whole thing, such as myself, that just like to give bad votes on things. And B, once again, takes this one here by a good majority, 9 votes, 35%. Oreo cheesecake, it's okay. It's fine. Oreo overload next. I definitely put this one higher than the one above it, but you guys didn't agree with me here, so that's gonna give it another B tier rating, a little bit higher with 38.5% of the votes. But it's still a well and solid B. Next up, raspberry cheesecake. This one was the most evenly had the most even responses, I can speak English, out of any of the flavors that I asked you. Like, I could not cut a pizza more evenly than these are sliced up here. And you can see it's tied between B and D, and then there's these 16 votes, so there really is nowhere you can put this one. It's either going to be like a B or a C, you'd think, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it at C. I'm going to split the middle between these two here, just because they're tied, and then the ones around it are tied. It's going to be a C. It's like I don't even remember what it was. That one from earlier that also broke my rules from earlier. Next up, really Reese's. Super boring flavor. Chocolate, Reese's. I mean, there's nothing too special there. B and D are the two most commonly voted things. You either like it or you think it's boring, like me. But B is, once again, just going to take it. You see a lot of these are Bs. I couldn't avoid it, like a bunch of Bs, no matter how I took these results to be. So that's just how it is. 27% of the votes for B, really Reese's. I don't agree with it, but it is what it is, you know? Next one, salted caramel pecan pie. I think this one was new, I want to say 2 summers ago. I'm honestly not that sure. And you can see it's well spread out amongst the votes. Once again, 5 votes for F, a common thing there. But this one is tied, once again, between C and A. But because there are more votes for D and F than there are for B and S around A, C is what this one's going to be given. Next up, salted double caramel pecan. This one, it's going to get a C tier. It's a C tier flavor. Nothing special about it. Next up, Snickers Swirl. I think if you go on the Culver's website and look at what they list as the top 10 flavors, you'll see that this one is like 6th or something like that, but that clearly does not align with what the responders of this poll said, as they gave it a solid C. B was next closest, but there's a good chunk of votes for D, and, well, there's not for F, but you can see there's a trend towards the bottom half of the tier list for Snickers Swirl. Next up, Strawberry Chocolate Parfait. This is one of our new flavors from this last summer. And like I said, don't like strawberry, so I don't like this one, but the chocolate cake in it is good, and chocolate cake with vanilla, that's good. So I can support B with 42% of the votes here. That I can get behind that. Next up, Toffee Pecan. This one is given an F tier. I mean, it's vanilla, heath, and pecan, so the two crunchy things in the vanilla don't mesh that well. It's almost as if they need something else with it just to make it, just to blend it a bit better. Just because the two crunchy things, it's not the best designed flavor in the history of Culver's, that's for sure. So it's gonna get an F tier. I think it's a bit harsh, but I'll get behind it. Next up, Turtle, staple flavor of Culver's. And it's a C tier. It's similar to caramel cashew, nothing too special about it. Old flavor, one of the classics. 38.5% of the votes for C. That's fair. Next up, another cheesecake flavor. This time there's only 4 votes for F, unlike the usual 5. But this one was surprisingly rated better than Turtle, in my opinion, and it's gonna get a B tier. And the last flavor is the third of the turtle variant, or the fourth, I should say, of the turtle variants. Turtle Dove, another one I don't necessarily remember having all that recently. So you can see that just through the spread of votes here, and just how diversified it is. But once again, we're gonna have another B tier to round out the list. So there we go. That's all of them. So I mean, voice your opinions in the comments. I mean, what do you think should be higher? What do you think should be lower? For those of you that responded to the Google form, big thank you. I would not be able to make this without you guys. So if you're watching this, thank you. And thanks for watching this too. I know it's been a solid 4 or 5 months, I don't even remember, since I've uploaded a video. The Fruit Ninja one, I believe, which was super fun to make. I want to do something else similar to that again, just because that was a fun one to do. And so yeah, it's been a while. I've had 1 or 2 things in the works that I've recorded, but then as soon as I tried to take them into editing, they didn't really work how I wanted them to, so I kind of just scrapped them. And then I haven't done much of anything in the last a few too many months that I'd like to admit, but hey, here we are. We're back. Hopefully here to stay. Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't really have many things planned to record in the next week or so. I have ideas, but they're not my kind of ideas, you know? So I need to think of some stuff there if I want to keep doing this, because I like making videos, you know? At this point, I'm just waffling, but if you're still here and listening, I mean, go find another video to enjoy your time. But yeah, I'll wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.